What if the God who spoke galaxies into existence, the God who thundered, "No human can see my face and live," the God before whom mountains melt like wax? What if that same God stepped out of eternity, crammed his infinite glory into a teenage virgin's womb, spent 9 months in darkness, was born in a feeding trough, cried as a helpless infant, learned calluses as a carpenter, and then let Roman soldiers nail him to a cross outside Jerusalem, and while bleeding out screamed,
"Eli, Eli, lama shavactani."
my God, why have you forsaken me?" That's not just a story. That's the single question that has split Judaism and Christianity for over 2 millennia. Judaism roars, "Impossible, God can never become a man." Christianity whispers, "He already did, and his name is Yeshua, Jesus." Can the infinite truly become finite? If he did, what does that change about everything? If he didn't, who was this man claiming to be God incarnate? A liar, a lunatic, or the real deal? Tonight we go straight to the
Tanakh,
Talmud, Zohar, and the Dead Sea Scrolls, texts Judaism itself reveres. No church fathers, no Gentile creeds, just the texts every rabbi respects. Buckle up. The next hour will be the wildest theological ride of your life. Skip a second and you'll miss the moment everything clicks or explodes. Objection 1. Divine immutability. Objection 2. Divine invisibility. Objection 3. Absolute incorporeality and the Shechina. Objection 4. No son or partner. Objection 5. The Messiah can't die on a cross, triumph, or tragedy. Objection 6. Jesus abolished the Torah, eternal law, or fulfilled promise. My name is Pastor Najam. Welcome to Understanding the Word. Let's find the truth together. Picture Jerusalem, 30 CE. The sun beats down on the Second Temple courtyards. Incense curls in the air. Sheep bleat. Pilgrims murmur from every corner of the Roman Empire. You hear whispers of a young rabbi from Nazareth, a backwater village, teaching words that cut sharper than the temple's sacrificial knives. Before Abraham was born, I am. The crowd gasps, stones are snatched. Why? Because I am isn't casual chatter. It is the sacred name God revealed to Moses from the burning bush. To claim it is to touch the infinite, to claim it as one's own. Blasphemy. Fast forward 2,000 years. That claim, God became a man, continues to echo in university debates, podcasts, family tables, and synagogue halls. Jewish thinkers across millennia have weighed in. Philo of Alexandria, Hellenistic Jew, Logos as mediator, strictly monotheistic. Maimonides, Rambam, absolute divine simplicity, any corporeality is idolatry. Rashi, Torah Peshet, prohibits literal anthropomorphism. Vilna Gaon emphasizes absolute divine unity. Modern voices, Rabbi David Walp, Rabbi Tovia Singer, emphatic rejection of incarnation. They argue it violates
Echad,
the oneness of God, undermines divine transcendence, and risks idolatry. Yet the New Testament insists this event occurred in the life, death, and resurrection of Yeshua of Nazareth, Jesus the Messiah. We are not quoting church creeds or Gentile theologians. We are diving into Jewish authoritative sources.
Tanakh,
Torah, Nevi'im, Ketuvim, Talmud, Bavli, and Yerushalmi, Midrashim, Ika Rabbah, Pesach Rabbati, Zohar, foundational Kabbalah, Pinchas and Reya Mehemna sections, Rishonim, Rambam, Ramban, Acharonim, Vilna Gaon, modern Orthodox and Hasidic voices, Rabbi Yitzchak Ginsburg, Rabbi Jonathan Sachs. By the end, you will see that while mainstream Judaism rejects the Incarnation, subtle threads in Jewish mystical thought, Messianic expectation, and textual exegesis provide points of contact, suggesting the Christian claim is not entirely alien to Israel's scriptures. Imagine yourself as a first-century Qumran Jew unrolling a Dead Sea Scroll amid apocalyptic fervor. A Messiah steps forward claiming divinity. What preconceptions would you bring? Wrestle with it like Jacob at Peniel and emerge transformed. All
Tanakh,
citations are from the Masoretic text unless noted. Talmud references follow standard foliation. Translations blend NJPS with my own for accuracy. Objection 1. Divine immutability. Can an unchanging God enter human history? Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine standing in 12th century Cordova, Spain. Cobblestone streets echo with the chatter of Muslim philosophers debating metaphysics. In a quiet study, Maimonides pores over Aristotle's writings, blending Greek logic with Torah insight. Scrolls of the guide for the perplexed lie open. The question pulses in the air. Can the immutable God, the one who says,
כי אני יהובה לא שניתי,
"For I
יהובה,
have not changed," truly act in history without changing? Maimonides' answer is emphatic. Any essential change in God is an imperfection, a defect in his pure actuality. God has no potentiality, only actuality, Aristotle's metaphysics married to Jewish monotheism. To suggest God could take on human flesh, that is not just impossible, it is heresy. Yet here's the tension. Maimonides himself hints at a relational flexibility. In Guide I, 52, he writes that while God is unchanging in essence, he can enter new relationships without altering his nature. Before the covenant in Genesis 15, Abraham was not called God's friend. Afterward, God's relationship shifted. His essence remained untouched. The relational shift does not imply change in God, only in human perception of him. Christianity takes this insight one step further. The eternal Son takes on human flesh without altering the divine essence. Hypostatic union. Two natures, fully God, fully man, united without confusion, without change, without division, without separation. Philo of Alexandria. Logos mediates creation, unchanging yet relational. Analogy: water becomes ice. Ice is finite, limited, tangible, but H2O's essence remains unchanged. Similarly, the divine assumes human nature without compromising infinitude. Second Temple Judaism. Philosophical currents allowed nuanced divine mediators. Philo's logos is eternal yet interacts with the cosmos. Dead Sea Scroll 4Q491. Exalted figures display divine attributes, hinting at mediated appearances. Rabbinic orthodoxy post-70 CE suppresses any hint of binitarianism, emphasizing unity. If you were a first-century Jew reading 1 Enoch, where the Son of Man is pre-existent and divine-like, would the Incarnation feel alien, or just the next logical step in divine mediation? Rambam: God's relational appearances are metaphorical, not ontological. Christianity: Incarnation is ontological, relational yet real. Does relational addition violate divine simplicity? No, because simplicity refers to essence, not relational acts. Talmud Bavli Tanit 2. A God changes from justice to mercy, modes not essence. Midrash Genesis Rabbah 27:4. God repents of making humanity, allegorical, relational, not essential. The Incarnation fits a pattern hinted at in Judaism's own texts. Pre-existent mediators, theophanies, and the concept of divine relational adaptation without essence change. Imagine Rambam in Cordova, quill in hand, unaware that 300 years later, scholars in Constantinople would define the hypostatic union, echoing his own logic. Yet in a form that Maimonides might have called heretical. Could the God who never changes truly enter human history without changing? Reflect on your own conception of divine possibility. Objection 2. Divine invisibility. Can we see the unseeable God? Picture this. You're on Mount Sinai, smoke curling into the sky, lightning flashing, trumpet blasts vibrating through the air. The very essence of God is present, yet Exodus 33:20 booms in your mind.
לא יראני האדם וחי.
No human shall see my face and live. Absolute, unyielding, unseeable. Yet moments later, you witness something astonishing. Jacob wrestling the mysterious man all night. Dawn breaks, Jacob declares, "I have seen God face to face and my life is preserved." Moses glimpses God's back, not his face. 70 elders see God under sapphire feet and eat and drink. Jewish exegesis. These encounters are mediated, visions, angels, or theophanies. Rashi calls Jacob's opponent Esau's guardian angel. Talmud Bavli Chulin 91b concurs, no direct human vision of God. If God can temporarily veil himself, why is permanent veiling in the Messiah impossible? Second Temple Judaism. Wisdom is personified, co-creating the world, a visible yet unchanging divine aspect. Philo, logos as mediator, relationally active without changing God's essence. Targum Ankylos. Angel of the Lord becomes Memra, hinting at pre-existent divine mediation. Imagine you are an elder at Sinai or a member of the Qumran sect. You see a human form radiating divine authority. Is this vision angel or God himself? Post-exilic Judaism emphasized absolute invisibility, rejecting Babylonian and Canaanite visual gods. Dead Sea Scrolls 11q13 portrays a divine-like judge mediating salvation, hinting at intermediary divine figures. Rabbinic literature, God appears but is never fully revealed. Any ontological veiling violates Maimonides' Guide I-5. Michael Heiser, ancient Near Eastern deities manifest without losing essence. Daniel Boyarin, pre-Christian Jewish thought sometimes allowed quasi-divine mediators, a two-powers idea later suppressed. God's invisibility safeguards simplicity and transcendence. Veiling in human form is not adding to God's essence. It's a relational accommodation. Incarnation differs in duration and totality. God permanently indwells the human Jesus while remaining fully divine. Analogy, a playwright writes a character through which the play's essence is revealed. Temporary costume, Shechina visits, permanent role, incarnation. Could the Shechina descending 10 times in Talmud Haggadah 15 a hint at a template for divine manifestation, prefiguring a Messiah permanently veiling himself? Now imagine a first-century Jewish scholar, scrolls of the
Tanakh
in hand, witnessing a man who speaks God's authority, performs miracles, dies as a criminal. Could this be the ultimate veiling, the permanent manifestation of the unseeable? If God can appear partially and remain unseen, what is so impossible about appearing fully in one person? Ask yourself how you see God today. Objection 3. Absolute incorporeality and the Shechina. Does God ever wear flesh? Visualize this. A dimly lit 13th century Spanish synagogue, incense smoke curling toward vaulted ceilings. Mystics huddle around the Zohar, whispering about the hidden dimensions of God. A young student asks, can the infinite, the unseen, ever put on flesh? The master points to the scroll. When the Shechina wished to dwell among men, she clothed herself in a veil of flesh. This isn't casual metaphor. It's Kabbalistic imagery describing God's presence entering the world in a perceivable, relational form. Contrast this with Deuteronomy 4:12. You heard the sound of words but saw no form. Maimonides emphasizes, God has no body, form, or likeness. Talmud Bavli Barakat 31b. Any attempt to attribute corporeality to God is heretical. The Shechina versus Incarnation. Temporary versus permanent. The Shechina descends temporarily, e.g., tabernacle, burning bush, Solomon's temple. Kabbalistic depth. Shechina is the lowest sephira, malchut, feminine, relational, reflecting the divine glory in creation. It unites with Tiferet as a symbol of harmony between God and world. Analogy, guest visiting a home Shechina, V's moving impermanently, Yeshua, who tabernacled among us. Gershom Scholem stresses the poetic and symbolic nature of Shechina anthropomorphism. Hasidic masters like Baal Shem Tov see divine sparks in all things but reject full embodiment as pantheism. Christianity claims the eternal Word permanently inhabits human flesh. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. Unlike Shechina, this isn't temporary or symbolic. It is ontological and permanent. Hypostatic union. Two natures, divine and human, fully united without confusion, change, division, or separation. Judaism sees Shechina as veil only. Christianity claims permanent indwelling, category difference, not contradiction. The Incarnation doesn't negate God's incorporeality. It expresses relational participation in history. Talmudic references. Haggadah 15 mentions Shechina descending 10 times. Midrash Exodus Rabbah 2:5. Shechina accompanies Israel in exile. Ancient mystics reading the Zohar might have glimpsed a divine presence veiled in flesh, but no one foresaw permanence. Imagine being a 13th century mystic reading, clothed herself in a veil of flesh. Could this hint at incarnation, or does the tradition strictly stop at metaphorical indwelling? The Shechina prefigures divine veiling, a relational bridge between the infinite and finite. The Incarnation fulfills the ultimate dwelling among men, permanent, sacrificial, and redemptive. Analogy: sunlight filtered through clouds, Shechina versus sunlight entering a prism permanently, transforming the space, Yeshua. Visualize the streets of Nazareth, 30 AD. A carpenter walks among townspeople, fully human, fully divine. The Shechina was visiting Israel for centuries. Now, in the Incarnation, God moves in permanently, touching history in a way no temporary manifestation could. Could Kabbalistic imagery be preparatory symbolism, pointing toward the ultimate union of divine and human? Objection 4. No son or partner. Is Son of God just a metaphor? Imagine standing in the bustling streets of Jerusalem, the marketplace echoing with debates. A rabbi from the Pharisaic school exclaims, "Son of God? Impossible. God has no partner, no offspring." This objection strikes at the heart of Jewish monotheism. The Shema, "Hear, O Israel,
Yehovah,
is our God,
Yehovah,
one,
Echad.
absolute unity." Yet Scripture itself uses familial language. Israel is called God's firstborn son. The Davidic king is begotten by God. "You are my son, today I have begotten you." Angels are sons of God. Talmudic caution warns against literalizing these terms. They are metaphorical, not ontological. Second Temple nuances. Dead Sea Scroll 4Q246. A figure shall be called Son of God, Son of the Most High. Messianic, perhaps angelic, perhaps human. 1 Enoch. Pre-existent Son. Figure participates in creation, judgment, and mediation. Daniel Boyarin argues some first-century Jews entertained divine-human intermediaries, prefiguring Christian claims. Alan Segel emphasizes that rabbinic orthodoxy later suppressed binitarian or semi-divine expectations. Imagine being Rabbi Akiva. Could a literal Son of God exist without violating?
Echad.
Or does pre-Christian Jewish literature hint at complex, relational divine expressions? Yeshua of Nazareth claimed a unique filial relationship with God, not metaphorical, but ontological. Jewish leaders sought to kill him for claiming equality with God, the Son as exact representation of God's being. The uniqueness of the Son is relational, not additive. God remains one essence. The Son assumes humanity without multiplicity in divinity. Picture the first-century crowd. Some whisper, some rage. A carpenter from Nazareth stands claiming sonship, authority, and unity with
Yehovah.
Is this blasphemy, metaphor, or revelation? Objection 5. The Messiah can't die on a cross, triumph, or tragedy. Visualize the Barcelona Disputation, 1263. Rambin faces Christian scholars. He asserts, the Messiah must triumph, rebuild the temple, ingather exiles. A crucified criminal cannot fulfill prophecy. Jewish objection seems airtight, yet Scripture hints at suffering Messianic figures. Talmud Sukkah 52, Messiah ben Joseph slain in battle. Midrash Pesach de Rabbati, Ika Rabbah, Zechariah 12:10, they will look on me whom they have pierced. Isaiah 53, wounded for our transgressions. Hebrew nuance, Zechariah 12:10, literally look to me whom they pierced.
Yehovah.
Speaking in first person. Messiah ben Joseph, a suffering figure distinct from triumphal Davidic Messiah. Some scholars date post-biblical developments. Isaiah 53 in Judaism, often interpreted as corporate Israel suffering, not individual Messiah. Rashi applies to Israel. Christian interpretation. Jesus fulfills suffering and triumph in one person, the God-man, vindicated by resurrection. If you were a Jew living during the Bar Kokhba revolt, would a suffering Messiah seem acceptable? Could a crucified Messiah still fulfill prophecy? Imagine Golgotha 30 AD, Jesus suspended on the cross. Crowds jeer. Roman soldiers mock. Yet prophetic echoes resound, pierced, suffering, bearing sins of many. The paradox of triumph through apparent defeat unfolds. Objection 6. Jesus abolished the Torah, eternal law, or fulfilled promise. A teacher in the streets of Capernaum says, "You have heard it said, but I say unto you." Immediate objection. Is he violating Torah? Not one jot or tittle will pass from the law. Deuteronomy 4:40. Torah observance eternal. Jeremiah 31:34.
ברית חדשה.
A new covenant written on hearts. Jewish view, renewal, not abolition. Daniel 9:24-27. Anointed is cut off, sacrifices cease. Temple destroyed 70 CE, fulfilling symbolic cessation. Ceremonial laws were shadows. Substance fulfills, not destroys. Analogy, seed grows into tree. Form changes, essence persists. Does a renewed Torah in the heart contradict eternal mitzvah? Or does it fulfill the intent of divine law? Picture a disciple watching Jesus heal on the Sabbath. The law remains, mercy and fulfillment reign. Shadows give way to substance, commandments internalized in love. Theological synthesis, hypostatic union and atonement. Now step back and see the grand theological panorama. Chalcedon codifies two natures, fully God and fully man, united without confusion, without change, without division, without separation. Rambam's relational logic, Philo's logos, and Targumic memra converge. God can interact relationally, participate in history without ontological change. Divine simplicity preserved. No parts, no change in essence. Relational addition. God enters time, space, and suffering. Infinite wrath borne by infinite being. Human suffering borne by finite humanity. Only a God-man can bridge infinite human gap. Satisfies divine justice. Fulfills prophetic pattern. Interfaith reflection. Judaism, Christianity, even Muslim scholars ponder relational and salvific implications. Imagine Golgotha, the cross silhouetted against the rising sun. History pivots. Eternity enters time. Humanity meets divinity in flesh. Interfaith reflection and conclusion. Strengths, conversational, cinematic, scholarly, deeply interactive. Insights. Jewish texts hint at relational divinity, intermediary mediators, suffering Messiah and renewal. Christian claim. Fulfillment in one person, without violating unity or incorporeality. Invitation. Engage, wrestle, reflect, and dialogue. Shalom Aleichem. Grace of Yeshua the Messiah be with you. Subscribe, comment, and join the journey of revelation.